The U.S. economy is going through major changes, and even big retailers like Costco are sounding the alarm, warning of a possible collapse. Today, we're going to break down what's happening behind the scenes, especially with the new economic numbers that just came out, numbers that provide valuable insight into what's likely to unfold in the near future. Now, let's talk about Costco specifically, because nearly 80% of their inventory comes from China. This is a huge deal, especially now that the U.S. has imposed a staggering 145% tariff on Chinese imports. On the flip side, China is choosing to exempt some U.S. products from their own tariffs, which could be good for American exporters and potentially lead to more jobs here at home. However, things aren't looking great. According to a report, the Costco CFO has noticed a shift. More consumers are focusing on budget items and pulling back on discretionary spending. That's a clear signal of tightening belts nationwide, and it's not just Costco. Retailers like Walmart and Target are also watching this closely. These warnings come just as the U.S. is pausing tariffs on other countries until July 8th, and analysts say we'll likely see significant price hikes starting then. Coincidentally, the Trump administration is also aiming to push a major economic bill through by July 4th, which could impact how this all plays out. Meanwhile, Costco reported strong sales of big-ticket items like 98-inch TVs and gaming computers during the holidays, likely because consumers rushed to buy before potential price spikes. But what's worrying is that with tariffs now in effect, importers like Costco, who rely heavily on Chinese goods, are in a tough spot. And it's not just anecdotal. This morning, the official numbers showed that the U.S. economy contracted for the first time since 2022, shrinking at an annualized rate of 0.3% in Q1. That's well below the 3% average we've seen in recent years. Net exports dragged down GDP by nearly 5 percentage points, the worst on record. Meanwhile, personal consumption actually came in a little higher than expected at 1.8%, as people tried to make purchases ahead of price increases. But here's the kicker. Forecasters now say there's a 50-50 chance the U.S. falls into a recession within the next year. Higher tariffs are expected to cause a supply shock and reduce demand, and consumers are growing anxious that this could hit the labor market and raise living costs. And we're already seeing signs of strain. Private payroll growth slowed to just 62,000 in April, down from 147,000 in March, and missing projections by a wide margin. In fact, it's the lowest job gain since July 2024. Ports are starting to back up, containers are arriving half empty, and some goods are just sitting there because businesses can't afford the 145% tariff to retrieve them. All of this spells trouble. Businesses are bracing for supply issues and falling demand, and many are already scaling back. UPS just announced it's laying off 20,000 workers and closing dozens of facilities, in part because Amazon is handling more of its own logistics and also because of reduced demand. What happens when businesses lay off workers but prices keep rising? People have less money to spend, yet everything costs more. This is a recipe for economic pain. Big-name retailers like Costco, Walmart, and even Amazon are reporting increased demand for basic necessities. Food, hygiene products, laundry detergent, clear signs of consumer stress. What we're seeing now is different from past recessions. Tariffs are a new significant threat. Inflation is still higher than what the Federal Reserve wants, and raising interest rates is not a viable option right now because of the massive national debt and calls to lower rates. The U.S. will pay over $1 trillion in interest this year alone, an unprecedented figure. This situation is unlike anything we've experienced before, and no one has a clear roadmap for how to navigate it. We're in uncharted territory, and the next few months will be critical. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing if you want to stay updated, and I'll see you in the next video.